So by now, I believe every one of us is familiar with Excel interface because that's part of what I discussed in one of the classes, and I still gave us some stuff to go and ruminate over around down. So by now, I believe every one of us understand the Excel interface. So only things that I note that we might be getting confused of. So I explain along the line as we work with the data. So we already, I believe you can all see my screen.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So first let's approach the aspect of we getting data into our system, into our Excel. For now, we'll based on most of our analysis, what we'll be doing on uh, Excel. So what I want us to achieve today is look into our the VLOOK the VLOOK option from what we established from the last class. We've done the logic. So under the look option, so we'll be checking the VLOOK option, and we also be looking into those different data analytics that analysis that we've mentioned, which is descriptive, and we'll also be checking the predictive. Yes, we started recording. It's recording. We are recording already. So we'll also be checking the. Okay, so under the lookup option, I said we'll be looking at the VLOOK option, and we'll also be checking based on different analytics that we mentioned in that time, the descriptive and predictive. We're supposed to look this also probably, but tonight we might not be able to touch that. But let's see how we go tonight. But before we dive into this, we'll pick it up from. I said there's three levels. Whenever we get data, there's three levels how we deal with data as data analysts that we are. Is you collect data at first, and after you collect the data you want, you clean the data. And I say when you want to clean data you want, you transform, you remove uh, empty or what are error space, and you ensure to minimum level any vacant data from your work. And after you've cleaned you what, can somebody remind me that one from the class? Hello.
Analyze.
Start checking if we say we don't have anybody that wants to respond. So what next? I don't know why my pen is that thick. But at least we can see what I'm writing, sha. So that is basically who is still joining us now? So that is basically what we want to check today together. I've explained how you can source for data the last class, but I will still buttress it more now. So if you are not paying attention last class, ensure you pay attention now so that we'll be on the same page simultaneously together. So for I wish this thing is something that can open multiple pages. Let me check. I think I have one app here that I used to use for that. So, okay. Okay, so let's quickly go to our browser. We want to source for data. I said there are diverse ways that we can source for data. You can source your data from primary source, which is through your qualitative and quantitative approach, like we see from here. Let me try to show us something from here. Okay, so your data can be from primary source or can be from secondary source. However, if it's primary source or secondary source, it might be quantitative or qualitative data, depending on what it is. But the data that I want to use tonight will be secondary source. Primary source means that you are getting from first-hand person. Probably you are interviewing some individual through either questionnaire like a survey, or you are gathering the data through interview section. We have other ones that we also used to use, especially for secondary purpose. Might be desktop research. Probably you are reviewing from articles, academic articles, or probably systematic review. Systematic review can also be quantitative and qualitative. When we get there, I will show us some of those things. But what our tonight focus on is quantitative data or a secondary data. And we'll be using the same database that we used last class to get what we want to do. So let's go to our data bank. So I will just select, let me work on this. Let me check into the FDI. FDI is just like you see from the definition here, the foreign direct investment. Some of you guys that are in finance, we are going into, feel free to talk along the line if you are not getting something. So what we are going to is this, which is uh, databank.worldbank.org. So you can put the source like this. Let me share the source to you on WhatsApp. So after you've gotten it, like I explained in the last class, the database that we are currently using is just the word development. Uh, so after we've gotten there, we have 4 levels that we want to relate with, which we want to select. This database, you might not be mindful of it, but depending on the data you are looking for, you might change the database over here so that you'll be able to get some specific information as related to what you want. Especially if you are, for example, now if I'm working on something around probably health related, probably in terms of nutrition, probably in terms of population statistics, I may select only this health and nutrition whatever alone. Probably I'm checking into aspect of doing business, I may go into this particular alone. But what the development indicator have numerous data that I can relate with. So I'll be going for that word. I want to check the database for the word development indicator. So in respect to that, I can close that tab and move into my country. For my country, ideally, I want to check what I have in mind for this is I want to check developing countries, but that have a good FDI. FDI can be in two forms. That is foreign direct investment. It can be inward and it can be outward. Inward, outward, which depends based on. I think we have some statistics. Finance students here. It's based on the foreign investment of each country, based on the internal economy, which is the what do we call that one? Um, and external economy is then that export and import. Let me just use that layman in that regard. So these are part of what justify whether a country we see more business from outside coming into that country, or even pulling out from that country outside. Probably you are exporting your product to another countries and the likes. These are some of the factors that justify that area. So, but for now, I may not be able to unpick them, but what you can do if you are working in that type of research is you can just come on your Google normally and let's search for developing countries. So for my developing countries, we have what data that is showing us some here. This is not giving me what I want. It's only showing me full map list of developing countries. Let's check this data. Okay. So these are some of the developing countries that I listed over here. So I may select it specifically based on that. But for tonight, let's check this African country, North African country that we have here. The Algeria, the Egypt, the Libya, Morocco, and Tunisia. Let's check the data for this particular one. So the first one is Algeria. Let me search it over here. Algeria. Invariably, I'm checking data from North Africa, African countries. Algeria, Egypt. This is Algeria. Let's check Egypt. This Egypt. What do we see out there? We have Libya, Morocco, Tunisia. Libya, Morocco, Tunisia. Libya, Morocco. Tunisia. So we've selected the 5. You'll see whatever country that you selected over here. And through that one, we can close our country tab. Let's go to the series. I said we want to deal with the FDI, which is foreign direct investment. So FDI. So let's check foreign. So foreign direct investment. So I will check for net inflow and outflow. I want to check in terms of percentage GDP. You can also check it in form of current USD dollar. Though this will be in terms of price, I mean in terms of cost. Why this one will be in terms of percentage in respect to your GDP value. So let's check all them so that you see the very difference between the two. And so I'm checking for the inflow and outflow. So I'm done with that series. You can also see the number that you selected here. I will go for the time duration. So in time duration, we can now select probably want 20, 25, 30 years consideration. But let me go for 20 years consideration. And with that, I can apply my change and see my data. That is that about that. Let me show the countries also. The country may not be summarized, so you can check down. So these are our data for the last 20 years. But if you notice here, there's no data for 2024. That is the only thing I noticed from these people used to update. They're supposed to have even updated. We're already in fourth quarter in 2025. So it used to take long. The last year, when I was also checking this platform last year, even towards December, I'm only seeing the data up to 2023. I don't know why it is not fast track to quickly upload. But nevertheless, we have some data that we can play with over here, which is trending. At least we have full data from 2005 to 2023 that we can use. So let us export the data. So you can export from this download option and through your Excel. So the data is already downloaded. We have it over here. So you can pick it up from your download or you open directly from here. So from your download, you can search it from your finders where it downloads under your download, or you can just open it directly from here. So I'm opening directly from here. Let me close this particular Excel and just bring that one into limelight here. So I did not understand how we come across all this one. Let me see your hands. that if people, before you start penalizing. So if all of you are not talking, definitely all of you are still on the same page with us here. So these are the data that we'll pick from World Bank, and you can see the way the data is looking numerous on the screen that we have to battle with. So I will send the data that this particular data that I download, I will send it to the group. So pick it up from there, any of us that we are relating with it. So later on, you can go on that particular platform for yourself to download the data. But let me send the data to the group, WhatsApp group, so you can pick it from there. So I've sent the data. Yeah. So these are the data that I now want to relate with. So like I told us from the second stage, are we on the same page, everyone? Who is the remaining one that have not answered? Okay. So the next stage that we have over here is what is to clean. And under our clean, I say we remove, we adjust, and we transform. It can be many things depending on your data. So I need those ones because that is what justifies that this one is inflow, that one is net inflow, this one. But this series code, I don't need them from my analysis. So I may delete this particular row. But I don't used to do that one on the raw data sheet. What I used to do is when I come to the bottom side here, I label this one as my raw data so that I will be able to revert back to it anytime I need it. So this particular sheet that we have over here, I will now either duplicate this or I will try to transform from here to another sheet. What I mean by that one is this. I need my column to be in form of the countries. Let me show us. Okay. I want it to be in form of, I have a country. Where's that my thing? Just put this one in your mind because I will have to delete it now. So I want it to be, so I want it to show the country A, country B, country C, and the other one. So I will now show all those data that I have under it this way. That is an approach to it first. The FDI value this way based on each of the country. So I may classify it based on country, or probably I come down to classify it based on those key variables so that under FDI inflow, I have my country A, country B, country C, country D, depending on what the case might be. Hope you are still hearing me.
Yes.
Okay. So on my outflow, I may now have my country A, country B, country C, country D. So this is based on variable. Why this is based on country? So depending on purpose of my analysis, I can use it. But let's try to do the two for this class. So I will now explain to us later on what the two end justify. So on my data over here, I want to justify it different countries separately. So I may come over to the new worksheet here. This series also, I don't really need it. So I may delete that one. Just right click on that tab that is open, the worksheet that is open. The old thing that we have on this Excel is workbook, but this particular single sheet, this is a sheet out of it all. That's why you can see insert sheet here. If you need more, either you click this plus or you right click to add more, and you can also use that one to delete and rename. So right clicking on it, I can delete this particular sheet. So I create a new sheet, which is, I will call it my transform data. So under my transform data, let me just put over here my year. Let me zoom in so that you will see it clearly. My year, and our year is starting from here, 2005. I know I'm going to 2023 based on that's where my data fall into. But instead of me typing all the old stuff, because I want to be fast, I don't want to go to this place and started cleaning all this. If you check this data, you are seeing what this year. you are seeing 2005 into a bracket again showing year 2005. I don't want to be cleaning this separately and wasting my time. So variable is a digit. So what I will do is I'll type 2025 in the first box. In the second box, I will also type 2020 2006. So if I've already gotten a clear interval here, you can alight on the 2. When you alight on the 2, get to the bottom right here, your cursor will bring a cross loop. You can zoom your screen to see what I'm saying. So you see, like, okay, if I move it away from here, it's also a cross, but when I move it to that angle, you see a dark cursor like that. So I can use it to drag down to year that I'm going to 2023, and that is my year. That is formation of my year. So now I need based on country, Algeria is the first one. So definitely I'll be needing FDI, but instead of me typing that, I will go back to my data over here. So I will select this 4. The sum of data are the same thing. If you check, this is inflow, net inflow in US dollar, net outflow and outflow in US dollar. So that is the 4 that I need. So I will copy them, highlight them, use your Control C to copy, or you can right click and copy any way you want it to be. You now go back to your transform data here. If you notice from here, this is what transform means. If you check this now, we have it to be I wish I have something I can use to illustrate on the screen. If you notice this now, is what is vertical. The arrangement of your data is what is vertical, meaning that we are moving from row 2 to row 3 to row 4 to row 5. However, in our transform data, we need it to be what? Horizontal. We need to be under column B, column C, column D, column E. So if I paste it directly this way, I come here and I right click and I paste, it will be vertical the way it is in the other way. And I don't want it that, I want it horizontally. So what I would have to do is right click on it, go to my paste special. Under my paste special, I have different options of how I can paste over there. But now I'll be selecting what? Transposed. Transposed means that if it's vertical, it should turn it to horizontal. If it's horizontal, it should transform it to vertical. So that is what that one entails. You can now see now I have it in horizontal format this way. Are we getting it? Okay. Is Olajumoke still having any issue?
No, sir.
Okay. So with that, let's proceed. I believe all of us get that one. So same approach that we use for this particular one is what we now use to transform all those data. You have to be careful you do not get it right. You give the data that belongs to Joe to Aina, and in the long run your data will now be your analysis will now be looking upward. It will not be going straight. So now I want to pick the data here. Let me zoom this one back in. You can stretch your own screen to get it. So the data that belongs to all these guys, that we find it over here in horizontal. We want to make it vertical. What I mean is this: you can see your 2025, 2026, 2027, all of them are in what? Horizontal. But the transform data that we have over here is what? Is vertical. So what I will now do is I will go back to here. I need the first 4, which represents what I have over here. I will select it to the right. And the best way you can do this is you can select the first one here, and we are going to the 4th row, right, which is here. 1, 2, 3, 4. You can hold your shift and click to select that. I will go back to the end also. I hold my shift to select it, so it will select the 4 segment. So after selecting my 4th segment, I can copy that also with Ctrl C, or you right click and copy. So after you copy, go back to your transform data sheet And on the first column where your 2025 first data will be, I mean this particular guy 1.0799. So you right click and go to space special and you go to transform. So your data will be transformed horizontally the same way. Are we on the same page? I believe we are. So that is how we get data for that one. I can now get for the second country also. Our second country is what? That is Egypt. Let me just pick it one after the other. Instead of wasting my time to type it, let me paste it this way. Libya, paste it this way. And Morocco, paste it this way. And Tunisia, copy, paste this page. Let me just copy to that interface. And I can just put it somewhere here. So this particular one will also be the heading for other one. So I just have to replicate them. 1, 2, 3, 4. Another one is 1, 2, 3, 4. Another one is 1, 2, 3, 4. Or to make this thing more minimal, I can, instead of foreign direct investment that is very long, I can minimize this one so that I have it micro, FDI inflow. So for every of this one, or instead of doing this way manually, I can come to this search under your home tab. You can come to your search over here. Hope you are seeing my screen. You can zoom it. You can go to your search here and look for replace. So what I want to do under replace is, sorry, I was supposed to have copied before coming in. I want to copy this FDI, foreign direct investment, comma, because that's what I want to transform. So I will now say replace. I will paste that particular thing I wanted to find there, which is this. Let me even find if it's located. You can see that it's locating it. I'll change it to FDI that I want. So immediately I press replace all, it will modify it in every other field I have there. But I made one mistake here. I removed the comma, which is averting them for net to move closer. So let me close this and press Ctrl Z. I don't want it to pick the net flow together. Let me just only select the foreign direct investment and go back to that place, replace, and replace. I just remove this comma. So I'll replace all. You can see we have the FDI, all of them now FDI, 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 FDI inflow. So I can put my Egypt. Okay, let me calibrate this way. Let me label this one a color. This is my color here so that I will know them differently. So I have this one to be brown. The next 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. I have it to be green. I have the next 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. I have it to be, so that I will be able to relate with the data separately. But you know, with this type of data set, we're supposed not to make it country based. We're supposed to make it variable based. Okay, let me ask this question before I explain this to us. Can somebody give me a reason why we're supposed not to make this variable based, especially from those intermediate people? We're supposed not to make it a country based. We're supposed to make it a variable based. Somebody from the intermediate class. Please answer us on time. We don't have the luxurious time. You people are senior people. You're supposed to know this thing. Senior citizen.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, brother.
So relate one country to another country, we have to see if there is any correlations or stuff like that. My own opinion, sir.
Yeah, that's why we call them senior citizen. And I'll be senior whatever. The reason why we're supposed not to base this thing on country base, why it's supposed to be variables that way. We want to relate data based on country. We want to check FDI inflow as it varies from each of the country. Not that we want to check FDI inflow in and out based on country because the value will differ. What did I say? Check this particular inflow. I told you that this is percentage in GDP, right? This percentage of GDP, which means that it is a percentage of the total GDP of that country. GDP is just like an economic value of that country. So the FDI is just like percentage of that is how you are seeing one point something, one point something. But this one is in US dollar. The amount is in US dollar. And the outflow also is a percentage of GDP. So if you are basing this graph on this graph, the entire thing that you'll be seeing will be automatically confusing. But if you are checking the FDI net inflow of each of the countries simultaneously, you actually get the actual one data that you want in that regard. So what I just have to do over here to get what we need is this. But I'm just using this one to explain the next stage of data analysis to us, which is data what? Data. I want the country to be here instead of these particular variables. So Algeria comes here. So I will select these guys, copy, and I will paste them here as a transpose so that it will be horizontal. So we have them on transpose here, and I can give it the color that I want. Let me make this ones to be a little bit like this, and I can copy this guy again and bring them here, which I will label as another color, green. So I can call this one the first variable, which is that FDI inflow. This can copy and put it over here. And for me not to relay my data very well, I can highlight this and merge this cell. You can see from your top here under your home, you see your merge over here. So you can merge it this way. So we need the data for under the foreign direct investment net inflow. We need for Algeria, we need for Egypt, we need for Liberia and the likes. So I can now go back on my data. It's a burden stress to my own end. What I will do is this. I will copy this particular guy down to this place this way. I believe we are all seeing it. I'll create a new sheet and I'll transpose it here. So transpose means that I already have them in vertical. So I can delete this particular, let me zoom. I can delete this particular sheet over here, row rather. So I have my FDI, 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 FDI. So what I just have to do is, oh sorry, I did not copy the country with it. So this data of the country, I copy, go back to that sheet. On the top, I transpose it. So I can have it. So this is all data for the Algeria. These are all data for Egypt. This for Libya. I may tend to remove this Libya from analysis if I'm dealing with the FDI input because they are having too much missing data. These are part of what we ignore from your analysis. But let me just copy this one that are valid first. I need this particular one for this country. I need the direct inflow also for Egypt. I hold my control to select. I need for Libya. I need for Morocco. I need for Tunisia. And with that, I can copy and go back to my transform data. Putting on the first sheet, I can right click and paste. So it will bring the data directly to that page. So let me get for the second one. I will not be doing the one in US dollar. We just get the outflow for the next one. So the outflow will be this in terms respect to GDP. So we have this over here, and we can select this is the outflow for here. This outflow for here. This is outflow for year. This is outflow for year. So I'll copy the same one like that. I said you can Control C or you right click and press Control. Go back to your transform data, paste it over here. So the heading for this one is the outflow, this particular guy over here. Copy, go back to your transform data, you can put it here, and I can merge this particular column over here. So I have my data here, but is this data clean enough? Somebody from the class, is this data clean?
No.
Why do you say it's not clean?
Because there are lots of missing values.
They are not what?
Because there are lots of missing values.
Okay, so there are a lot of missing value from our Libya. So two things involved here. My outflow for Libya is complete, but my inflow is scanty. And if you check the proportion of data that is present here, let me use the formula. I think I've taught this one in one class like that. I can check my counts. Of data available here. What did they give? So we're only getting 9 out of 20. It's not even up to average for data that we have over here. And if you check the order of progress of this data, it's not linear, or it's not progressive or decreasing. You can see it's moving from 2 to 3 to 6. It reduces back to what? To 4 to 2 2, going to 1 to 0, and at the long run on far wrong here, you notice that it's going to 1.7. So from my own perspective, based on this, I would have preferred to ignore this data. But the only thing that is giving me concern is why it's full here and I'm not getting it here. So the two things I used to do here is, if need be for it, I can go on my browser. Where's my browser? I can go on my browser to search. So on my browser, I will now search Libya So this World Bank, that is same where we get the data from. So definitely it will not be available here. So let's check this OECD. Let's see if they have the data that we can use to fit in there. So some of the time used to have funny little gap in data. Is it telling us to download it? We need the full report. Is the data available in your report? So that is the alternative thing that I used to do if I cannot discard those data. So I look for other database to get the data from them. So we can, they are presenting their own direct investment assets and liability, but I need it in form of inflow. So itself. So they presented their own in form of inward, and there is a calculation for that. You can see inward in form of US million. Do you have it even here in form of the data that we have over here? Do you have it in form of under the raw sheet? You can see it's also missing. If you want to use it in form of US, I made this. Wait, Is this inflow? No, this is outflow. Inflow in terms of US is also missing, so we might not be able to use that. But I don't want us to use this inward since we are using inflow already. Yes. Um, let's check another database. However, because of our time, if we have not seen it here, I'm just using to give us an area where you can use to, if the data is necessary for you to use and you are not getting it here, you might try to search other database to utilize it. But for purpose of the class, you might try to move over it. Let's check if this one. Okay, FDI inflow in terms of percentage. Let's check the habits. Because some of them now in the long run, they used to rally it around what data bank is giving to them. We have it from 2025 to that. But let me make it a tabular one. Okay, these guys are they are the same to say the way I told you. They got the data from World Bank. You can see what is happening. They don't even have it for 2005. They have it from 2013. Oh. Let's take this statista. But the data is not so complete. This is to 2018. Let me just let this one for the last time. If I'm not seeing it, we move on. So, not in US inflow. Okay, this one is in US inflow. Okay, this guy data a bit up to date, but this on USD. So what I can do in this one, but I'm not doing that one tonight, is this. So if I'm finding it difficult to find my data in percentage in GDP, and I'm able to get a data, if okay, this macro trend, I used to use the data, so it's legit. So I can convert this inflow in USD into percentage GDP. But what I now have to do is now that I have to get the GDP data for this particular country, which is Libya. So I will now do the mathematics to get my percentage in GDP. But that is not for tonight's section. What we have to do on tonight's one is we discard Libya from our results. We discard what? Libya from our results. So we focus on the remaining 4 countries. So with this, is our data clean now or not still clean? Okay. Okay, let's proceed. So the next stage in our what is now to analyze this data. After we've collect, we've clean. Next thing is to analyze, and when we are talking of analyze, is to what? Is to go back to what we talk about, which is our analysis is what? We said we have descriptive, and we have also have predictive. Is this one having descriptive, predictive inside? Okay. So we have the descriptive, which is the most crucial one to check trends, like what we have tonight. And you can see from here that they say descriptive is just a process of using current or historical data to identify trends. And if you check our data here, we have it over year. And want to definitely, this is applying to descriptive. We want to check the data of each country over the year, over the year, over the year, in that way. So in so doing, that is what descriptive majorly. But before we go to visualize, I want to show us something. Okay, he said nothing. You can read other one yourself. I just want to. This is the approach at which we will do the descriptive, but I'm coming back to that one. So what we actually want to check under descriptive is this. We want to check the mean. The descriptive result will return to you the mean, the standard deviation, the median, mode, standard deviation, variance, kurtosis, skewness, range, minimum, maximum. All these has meaning and what they stand for. I will have explained on this call to you, but I first want to give you an assignment around it to do your personal research findings on this all this descriptive value, which you write up, you write about it, and you send to that mail that we used to send the assignment to before next class. But the cocoa part of it is that you understand it, not only to write the assignment. Assignment 1. So the meaning of each of these, but I will explain some as we run the analysis for tonight. So how we will get that one done on running the analysis, you can get more information around it if it's for Excel on this particular document I sent to you guys. Here, let me just show you. This is it here. This particular one. So what you have to do now is want to analyze this, and we want to analyze this. To make this one simple, I can just copy the year here, or I leave it that way also. So you go on under your data section. Under your data section here, you should see data analysis here. How many of you are not seeing data analysis there? Hello, under your Excel, you people that are using your system, how many of you are not seeing analysis under that segment I went to? Are we still together? So definitely everybody is seeing that. Okay. Because if you are not seeing it, there's a way you can bring it out. But so far all of you are seeing it, let's proceed. So click on that data analysis, and you can see different analysis that we can run on this Excel over here. We have from ANOVA, single factor. Who's that person that is not seeing it?
Yeah, I can't see it here, sir.
Okay, that is Olariwaju. Thank God that somebody is not seeing it. So, are you seeing?
What's here is what if.
Eh?
What
are
I
you
saw
seeing?
Here is what if analysis. What
Okay,
if
this
analysis.
is what if here. After the what if, what are you seeing?
Settings.
Go to your the you are using window, right? Different from Mac.
No, I'm using window.
I thought you are using Linux. So the way that one works is if you click on top, I think that should be the one beside the file. What is the stop here? Is it ESA or something? Or the icon beside the file here? Okay, don't worry. Let me get the interface of Excel on window. Excel. Oh. Click it. Are you seeing what you are seeing now? If you go to another data and come data analysis. Are you seeing this? Just catch up with us. Just be following along. So we have different analysis that we can run here. We will explain all of them as the class proceeds, because these are part of what you need to know how we come about them and how we interpret them. We have correlation, we have ANOVA, we have covariance, we have descriptive, exponential, test flow, Fourier analysis, histogram, blah blah blah. But we'll be more specific about descriptive analysis for tonight. So click on those descriptive and press OK. Under here, we ask for input range. Input range. So I need this. and I also need this particular one. So the way I will select is this. I can just select all this one, not to be wasting my time. And over here, you will see the option label in first row. Label means that my first row that I select over here, which is this is row, will be my label. So if there is no label there, I may not check that one. But the problem that I will have on the long run is that they will not have title. It will be random title that will be generated for it. So it's better I go with that label as its own. So how is my data position? How are they grouped? They are grouped in column because this is a column, this is a data, this is a data, this is a data on its own column. Assuming I arrange my data in a row just like this, just like my data is on a row like this, I will select it to be what? To be a row. But here I have it to be in column. So it's asking me, should we make it in the new sheet or we should make it on a new workbook, which is a new Excel entirely, or you want to input it on this particular place. I want it to be here, though you can have it in new sheet. Okay, let me have it on a new sheet so that I can label it data descriptive analysis. So I will take a new worksheet which I will tag it as descriptive analysis. And with that one, if I press my OK, it's telling me that please choose at least one statistical option. Yeah, I did not select that one. So I can come here to select my summary statistics. Under my summary statistics, I will be getting this. These are summary statistics, my mean, standard error, blah blah, all this stuff. And if you want confidence level, so confidence level is 95% or 99% as the game may be, but here it's stereotyped to what is fixed. So 95% confidence level. So I can press my OK. So and I will have my analyze data. This is my analyze data for that each of the consideration. This for year. Yeah, this for year, and this for Algeria. Now this Algeria inflow, this Egypt inflow, and the likes. Can somebody tell me reason why this mode is giving us not available from the analysis? Anybody, it doesn't necessary to be intermediate. Just think based on, I think we have explained something around median mode mean to you people in this class. So somebody should explain to us why the Olarewaju, do you have any issue or you want to explain? Olarewaju, I could see your hand up. So can somebody explain to us why that mode is having not available nil a NA? When do we start the class? It's already 1 hour 30 minutes. Let's use 2 hours and stop. You people are delaying us. We don't have anybody that want to explain. So far, there's not anybody that wants to explain. I was explaining to you guys the right time that mean is just like an average, which is summation of all variable over sum of the frequency. What I mean by sum is that total addition of all the variable 1, 5, 10, all over sum of their frequency. there might be 5, there might be 6, and the likes. So that is what the mean is. I would say the median is when you arrange them in form of order, ascending or descending, the middle one is your median. Why your mode is most frequently occurring, the one that occur twice or 4 times compared to other one. But this is a random data that is changing on daily time basis, and you can see from here that this data even have more decimal that cannot make them to be the same. They will be changing per time. So in that case, you can't have a mode. But let's assume we have, let me say we have this data here like this, and I swap it down, and I check for my, sorry, not that way. I'll copy the remaining one here, this particular guy again, so that at least I have them twice in that data, and I swipe it down. So by the time that I carry out my mode, is modular. Okay, let me just do descriptive analysis for this briefly. Data, so that it will be the same example that I'm using that you guys are seeing. So I will select this particular one and label. I want it on this particular sheet also. So I'll select the range here. I want it here. And I'll press OK. So if you check it here, we have a value here for the mode. Do you know the reason why? This particular is 0.9616218 is here, is here, is here, and that is the reason why it's seen as mode. So that is that about the aspect of the mode. I believe we all get that. I believe all of us understand now how mode was showing us empty the other time. So let's proceed. So these are our descriptive results that we will now want to deal with. So in my presentation, I may have it as, which is my Word document I mean. So let me try to bring a Word document here. Let me just borrow this Word document. Let me minimize this. So let me have it this way. And let me, don't mind the topic that I put here. Just for some person particular. Let me just jump this one down. I want to borrow this to bit. So I now want to present my results here. I'll go under my insert. I'm not explaining Microsoft Word because you can understand that one or learn it over time. The class is not Microsoft's class, it is data analysis class. So now I have 4 countries. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I want to relate it based on mean and standard deviation. That is the most crucial thing that I need over here if it's for a proper explanation. However, you can also relate based on other one based on the need for it. Actually, you can see the minimum here and maximum. Meaning I put the lowest minimum value that we have for each of the data and the maximum. So here I want to use only this mean and standard deviation. So for my FDI inflow per GDP, this one guy, I put over here. I insert my table over here. My table will be needing 4 columns. I'll be 5 columns rather, and 5 rows. And I think I need Let me just put 5 first. So this will be my country. This will be my frequency. This will be my no, not really. We are not collecting data from primary source. So I may remove that frequency and I will just put, yeah, we can put our frequency for total count consideration, which is 19 in this case. We have our mean, and we have our standard deviation. Let me remove this last guy. So for all our countries that we have here, so I can come to my word there and paste those guys there. When you want to paste on Excel on Microsoft Word, ensure you select all the cell. What I mean by that one is if you just select one cell like this and you paste, it will paste inside that box alone. So the best way is to select the total exact column, the exact row that is in that what you want to copy and paste it into them directly this way. So for this one, I will copy each of the main. So I'll select them also and I'll paste. So for my standard deviation also, I will come over here. I will select, 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 and I will paste. Who is the singer in our class? Okay, our singer is off the mic. Paulina. Abuse it. So, hope you are encouraged. So, you can have it here. So, our frequency, we already know this one should be 19, 19, 19, 19. So that is my data. However, as an added advantage for you guys that are working on your projects, the way we represent table in our presentation is not this way. For your presentation's sake, the way you calibrate this data will be, now for example, table 4.1, this is my data. You click on your data table. I'm just using this one to do Ayaba. So you go to your table layout. Okay, let's even go back to home. Under home, there is one icon that used to be under this particular segment, which shows the direction of your box. You click no border, and after you click no border, you go back to that direction. You click bottom, you click top, and you come back to select the top part, and you go back to that drop down and you select bottom. So this is how we used to present data in for if it's anything research based or reports for any brand or whatever that you want to do it for. So this is how you lay your chart for it. Somebody sending message to us. Oh, sorry. Video will be made available. Yeah, almost done. So that is that about our data analysis. We can now relate with this data to interpret different things based on the value that we have over here. But that one is not discussion for tonight. So we move to the next stage, which is after data cleaning, data analysis is what is to visualize our data. And let me go back to the transform data. Let me delete this guy. So we can now visualize. Let's assume I want to visualize how the FDI direct inflow of each of this country looks like on a graph sheet. So I can now select all of them this way. Hope you guys are seeing my screen. I believe, okay. So I can go to insert, that is where your graph is. Click on your insert, and from your insert, you can click on your recommend chart if you have one, but it's vacant here. Okay, it's showing, it's loading, it's taking time to load. Let me just use line graph for now. So line graph, this is particular first one. So this is my data, my visualization, but this is not clear enough. Anybody that sees this may not really get everything in place. So I need to label my charts and the likes. So your own guys that you are using window, there's a plus icon here whenever you create your charts. There's always a plus icon here. That is how you relate with it. But if you are using Mac, it's always here, add chart element. So under chart element, this is my axis, which is my primary and horizontal axis. I don't need them because it's already there. My axis title, that is what I need. I need the horizontal one. And my axis title, I need the vertical one. So my vertical here is FDI net inflow, which is percentage of what? Percentage of GDP. Why I have my x-axis to be what? My year. If you like, you might put them. If you like, don't put them. So the top part will not be. You can use your English. Trend of FDI, or you might write it for foreign direct investment net inflow in percentage of GDP. So I'll put the year from 2025 to 2023. I can put this. So if I like, I may leave these guys over here, or I might push them to the right hand side. You guys that are using window, you always find it at the plus icon here. But for my own, I can come over here and go to my, okay, that will be under my my chart title. Okay, is here. Where this one is saying if I want to reposition where my chart title is and the likes. So we have that one under. If I don't want to have any legend like the way I have it over here, I can also check the option over here. I'm actually looking for this particular legend. Okay, so I can position my legend either to the right, to the top, to the left, and to the bottom part. You can see the bottom part is activated. If I change it to the, let's change it to the right, you have it in this order. So depending on how you want it, but I prefer the bottom part for now. So I can now lift this, copy, and take it to my document as my data that I want to use for presentation, and press it to be, this will be figure. Anything tabular form is a table, but this one will be figure. One, you can repeat the name that you write here, or you create a new name for it. So I've attended to two things together: visualization of your data and what, presentation of your data. So the next thing will now be discussion around this your data. But if you notice from this your data, the FDI of those countries in 2006 reduced automatically, though it was not consistent or straight decreasement. It's fluctuating, but nevertheless it shows a trend of decreasing. However, if you notice from 2021, we notice increase in that of Egypt. This is a upward trend. We notice increase also in that of Tunisia, but there is a decrease from this guy, which is Morocco. So you cannot justify based on articles or based on other, let me just say scholars, academic scholar, why this, or probably your information that you search online, why is this one increasing, why is this one decreasing. That is what your discussion will be mainly more about. And we did that this one, we presented, so we can now say, okay, for example, now let's assume what propelled this my data analysis is a company is looking to expand into any of these countries. So based on this my FDI inflow and my outflow that I will analyze, I will now propose for them the best fit. I think I will bring one question to next class that we can use, if not this next class, probably the one coming before it, that we can use to analyze and understand this thing, how we can address practical questions. So with this, let's stop here for tonight. Do you have any question? This time to ask a question if you have a question.
Okay, sir. Concerning the assignment, what is the difference between a data analyst and a business analyst?
I give assignment. Have all of you submitted? Eh?
Sir?
I said I gave the assignment. All of you have not submitted. Only few of you submit. So should we address the assignment inside this class? Eh? Are you guys hearing?
Yes, sir, we are hearing. I was long in the last class, so I don't really know. So that's why I did not respond. Assign the assignment.
So what is the question again, Mr. Fikayo?
Difference between a data analyst and a business analyst.
Where from the um, info that I sent to you, both of them are data driven for decision making, but the arm at which the role, I mean, what they are relating with is what differs. From my own terms of the two aspects, I'll be more focused on the fact that the one that serves as business analyst mostly focus on analyzing data to propose a way forward for solely business, for solely for business. So what that one used to do is to understand different data and how you can propose a recommendation for business to improve or whatever the circumstance may be that you are doing. I mean, this may be in the case, probably it's a business that is looking into the SES. and or probably looking into the rate of customer inflow based on annually basis, and they now give you some of the data that they've probably entered on or they've collected on computer, or probably they collected manually over a year or 2 years or 5 years, and you as the business analyst, you gather all those data, you work on them same way data analyst will focus on it. You work on those data to propose recommendation for it. But some will also give you a definition in the essence that data analysis follow all these five principles that we just did now, which is collection of your data, and cleaning of your data, analyzing your data, and what is it called? And visualizing and presentation of your data. Why the business analytics will be more or less of using those data to propose recommendation. And but from my own end, I will also say a data analyst that know what he or she is doing will be able to use propose recommendation for any analysis that you draw up. So that makes most of them a little bit correlating, but there's a thin line between them. But the two way I will use to clarify that one based on my own perspective from the two is that a business analyst is most focused on business itself, using data from the particular business to justify a recommendation for improvement over that circumstance. Meaning that if they are looking into their sales, when should we put more effort into sales, and when should we strategize otherwise. So based on the data from that end, the business analyst can make a proposed recommendation for them. But for data analysts, data analysis is more of less like you collecting data, cleaning, analyzing, and visualizing it to show the trend and pattern of what is happening within the data, showing the trend and pattern of it. But so far it's not a business, it's not a must that it's a business that you are relating with. Assuming I'm a data analyst now, and I also did all this process that I just did now, and I visualize my data, I present my data. If it's a particular data that tailors to an organization, definitely based on my trend and everything that happens. For example, now with this trend that we see from the image that we have over here that is showing a decrease, I can propose my recommendation based on that. So that makes it very more closely to each other. So I saw from some of the comments that you guys sent to me, some that sent the video, trying to justify some of the things. Like for example, now I can deduct from one definition I saw on Coursera. They say data analysis works more closely with data itself, while business analysis work more with involving with the business need and recommendation. So it's just simply of what I just said now, that business analysts focus on business itself. They have to get the problem from the grassroots to finish, but they also work with data. So business will approach them, business manager will approach them that we notice that there's a low turn up of customer during this period. We are having low trade and low profit during this period. What can we do? The business analytics will tell them that let me look into your existing transaction or existing data that you gather in your company, and through that one it will work on those data to check trend, also check the flow in correlation with seasons, and to be able to make a recommendation that this period that is a period where there is always maize, and that is when maize used to come out. So most people don't used to buy bread again, they always used to go and do beans and maize. So that's what most people are eating at this period. So if you are selling bread, expect low turn up at this particular period of time. So making a recommendation with them. However, the company can diversify into this. They can diversify into looking for a product around corn at that period, or we can diversify our geographical location or expand our reach to other region so that we can be making more sales at that region. That's a business analyst. But a data analyst can serve as a background in generic form that all these five processes that we just mentioned now, they follow it closely, but not specifically to a company solely. I don't know, probably you get my understanding of what I'm saying. So a data analyst can be in form of a researcher, analyzing data around the research. It might even works as a business analyst, and that's why I prefer anybody that will join my own cargo in terms of data analysis to understand the process of doing it and process of interpretation. And business analytics, there are some other software that will serve as an agent, but one of the most crucial one that you have to get familiar most with is Power BI that majority are using. Because with Power BI you can on a fast track visualize, though we are just taking this what is it called, Excel, because it serves as a background and basic knowledge for it, for all of you to be able to establish your feet in data analysis. So by the time you get every niche of this, most of what you are doing on Excel also expands to all of them others, but it has some additional inputs that you have to do. So in so doing, the two go hand in hand, but in summary of it all, business analyst is more focused on business itself, their problem, their analyze of their data, and their proposed solution and recommendation for progress. I don't know, probably answer your question. Okay, do you have any other question? Do you have any other question?
Okay, so I want to say this, like the network is not actually doing justice to when like the explanation you are giving. So sometimes I don't get to get some things. I don't know if you can get the summary or maybe the ones you've done on Excel, the is it worksheet or spreadsheet that we call it now, that you can send it to, we can go through it.
The spreadsheet in terms of what? Is it the whole thing, the whole process that we did today?
Yes, that is, if I can go through it and then maybe just.
Don't worry, we'll send video to you.
The network on my end.
We'll send the video to you. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right.
Do you have any other question? Okay. Thank you very much for your time, and have a wonderful night rest. Au revoir.
Thank you, sister.
Bye. Yeah.